And fear is by design. It's what keeps us silent.
She did that for the photo op outside, it feels like, more than for the interview.
She's very unkind to reporters. She seems to hate the press junkets over the years. She barely seems to enjoy her fans.
Right out the gate, there's just a level of awkwardness because, yeah, the dress doesn't fit his small chairs.
She kind of thinks that she's above her fans, thinks she's above the press, and is just always rude.
There's more evidence and stuff that's painting the picture that Blake Lively's not being honest.
You mentioned you had an intense year. I'm maybe not as totally informed about it as other people.
Blake Lively has been parading as Hollywood's new symbol of strength. But last night on Late Night with Seth Meyers, that illusion cracked. What was meant to be a warm, sanitized softball interview ended up doing the exact opposite. Not because Seth asked hard questions, because clearly he didn't, but because Blake just could not hold her act together.
And then she comes out in her way too big dress. Welcome. But right out the gate, there's just a level of awkwardness because, yeah, the dress doesn't fit his small chairs.
Her answers, inconsistent. Her tone kept shifting. And behind that forced laugh and exaggerated dress was something colder, sharper, and frankly, way more dangerous. The truth, she slipped. And in that slip, the game got exposed. When someone's entire image is based on manipulation, even the smallest moment of unrehearsed honesty can reveal everything.
I mean, it's no surprise I've had like a pretty intense year, and like they're just my lifeline.
But then she even said, like, they're my lifeline. Oh, they've taken me away. And there's one where you're like, oh, it's so sweet. You can go be with your kids because they don't read all the news and they'll love you. They're unconditional, etc.
No matter what day I'm having, I have to be Disneyland every day for them.
Let's talk about the optics first. Blake didn't show up to Seth Meyers to talk. She showed up to perform, and not in the way actors are supposed to. She waltzed in, wearing what looked like a full-blown wedding gown. It was oversized, it was loud, and completely unfit for a late-night couch segment. But it wasn't about the couch. That dress was for the red carpet outside, for the cameras, for the carefully coordinated viral clips her PR team could ship to social media outlets before the episode even aired. A walking headline. But once she sat down, it only got worse.
She seems to be on this tour that's painting herself as a hero for all women. And it's pretty frustrating how Seth and just Hollywood in general seems to be accepting it.
The lowest lows of my life, and I see so many women around afraid to speak, especially right now, afraid to share their experiences.
There's more evidence and stuff that's painting the picture that Blake Lively's not being honest. And also, what are you afraid of? And what did he actually do? I wish these are the questions that Seth Meyers would have asked, but alas, he didn't.
You could feel the awkwardness before a single question was asked. Seth cracked a joke about needing a bigger chair for her dress, and she forced out a laugh like it had been rehearsed 10 times in front of a mirror. She awkwardly joked about martinis with ice, a forced callback to her movie character that nobody in the audience cared about. Then she launched into a rambling, cringe-worthy reference to Frozen, quoting the song and pointing out that her own parody trailer used similar lyrics, as if that was some kind of cultural achievement. But the real red flag? The way she spoke about her kids.
What I can say without going too into it is that this year has been full of...
And then she comes out in her way too big dress. Welcome. But right out the gate, there's just a level of awkwardness because, yeah, the dress doesn't fit his small chairs.
1 minute they're her lifeline, the reason she gets through every tough day. But the next, she's framing motherhood like a burden. I have to be Disneyland every day, she sighed, painting herself as the struggling mom just trying to survive. But let's be real, nobody believes Blake Lively is waking up at 6 a.m. to pack lunches and do school drop-off. She's flying private, living in luxury, and surrounded by nannies and stylists. The relatable mom bit just doesn't land. It's not vulnerability. It's strategy, a carefully calculated play to seem grounded and wounded at the same time. Only problem? She kept flipping between stories. And when your whole identity is a script, inconsistency is exposure.
I'm like, where do I put it all?
We'll bring a supersized chair for your next large dress. Hey,
It is like, dude, know the show. And it's not...
Blake Lively wants you to believe she's a woman fighting to be heard in an industry that ignores women. But let's stop pretending she's some powerless underdog. She's not. She's not silenced, she's not struggling, she's not canceled. She's everywhere. She's on press tours, she's doing late-night appearances. Her face is splashed across Netflix banners and YouTube thumbnails. And most importantly, she has the backing of Hollywood's most powerful PR machine, not to mention one of the most bankable men in the industry as her husband. So, when she sits on a nationally broadcast show and says, "Fear keeps us silent," it's laughable.
We knew this, but I like, it's interesting Seth went there immediately, and now, you didn't get to put your product placement in this time, and even Seth makes a joke about it.
Fear? Nobody's more heard right now than Blake Lively. But you know who is silent? Everyone around her. Journalists who won't report on what's actually happening. Co-stars who've gone completely dark. Producers who suddenly have no comment. And the reason is simple. They're afraid of her. Afraid of Ryan. Afraid of losing access, connections, opportunities. Afraid of the quiet blacklist that starts when you say something that contradicts Blake's carefully curated victim story. Because while she's crying on cue in public, she's pulling strings in private. This isn't someone trying to speak truth to power. This is someone who became the power and is now trying to rewrite history with soft lighting and applause signs.
His gin in.
Director put his gin in.
Do you have to go home and tell Ryan, like, I have bad news?
No, it was like, baby, I have something to tell you. We're gonna talk about it.
What's happening behind closed doors is even uglier. Several journalists, including big names, have gone on record off the record, admitting they're staying away from the Blake Lively versus Justin Baldoni situation entirely. Not because it's lacking facts, not because it's irrelevant, but because they don't want to deal with the fallout. Fallout from who? Blake and Ryan's camp. Think about that. In an industry that ran exposés on Harvey Weinstein, Kevin Spacey, and Joss Whedon, people are still too scared to cross a former CW actress and her Deadpool husband. Because this power couple has a reputation for killing careers with a smile. We're hearing about streaming platforms that quietly pulled out of projects the second they learned the creative team wouldn't sugarcoat the story. Independent producers backing off because they were told, flat out, "We don't want to upset Ryan." That's not feminism. That's not progress. That's control. And if Blake Lively wants to call herself the face of women's empowerment while that's happening behind the scenes, then someone needs to say it, loud and clear. This isn't courage. It's coercion. By the time Blake dropped her big emotional monologue, the act was running on fumes. You could practically see her gearing up for the serious moment, the segment her PR team likely rehearsed a dozen times. And when she delivered it, it was word for word the same strong woman playbook we've heard from every celebrity trying to steer a scandal. "This year has brought me the highest highs and the lowest lows," she said, with perfectly timed eye contact and just the right amount of vocal crack. She then pivoted to the familiar rally cry, "So many women are afraid to speak. Fear keeps us silent." It was supposed to be powerful. It was supposed to make headlines. But all it did was remind anyone paying attention that this entire appearance was scripted down to the syllable. Blake isn't speaking truth to power. She's performing pain for applause. Let's be real. When your pain includes walking red carpets, doing high-profile interviews, launching a lifestyle brand, and cracking jokes about your husband's gin, it's not a struggle, it's strategy. And the most disturbing part? She's using real social issues, actual trauma that women face every day, as props to sell herself as a survivor. Meanwhile, she's out here holding the industry hostage. Behind the scenes, let's not forget Seth Meyers' role in this. He knew what was going on. He had the chance to ask real questions. He didn't, and he made sure the audience knew he wouldn't. "I'm maybe not as totally informed about it as other people," he said, smirking like he wasn't fully briefed before the show. That's not just lazy, it's strategic. It gives him cover. If this whole narrative collapses, he can say, "Hey, I didn't know everything." But here's the problem. Seth does know everything. He covers entertainment daily. He talks about controversies all the time on A Closer Look. The guy isn't clueless. He's complicit. He threw Blake softballs and let her coast. That was the deal. He gets the views. She gets the platform. Everyone wins, except the truth. And that's what makes this even more infuriating. It wasn't just a fluff piece. It was a shield. A calculated move by a host and a guest who both knew exactly what not to say. While Blake floats from one press couch to the next, where's Justin Baldoni? He's not doing late-night interviews. He's not dropping empowerment speeches. He's not getting highest highs and Netflix offers. He's gone. After Blake's accusations, Justin lost his agency. His projects got shelved. His public image imploded. And whether you believe him or not, that kind of immediate industry shutdown should raise every red flag. Because this wasn't due process. This was execution by headline. The man hasn't even had a chance to speak. Meanwhile, Blake gets to tour the country, rewriting history in real time with help from Hollywood's elite. If that doesn't scream media imbalance, I don't know what does. If Blake truly believed in justice, she'd allow room for the truth to be examined, not silenced. What Blake Lively is doing isn't new. It's a blueprint. Celebrity mess? No problem. Craft a trauma narrative, cry on command. Insert a vague message about supporting all women. Get booked on late night. Profit? It's not vulnerability, it's marketing. Manufactured victimhood is the new Hollywood. Currency. And Blake is cashing in. The saddest part? Real victims will be the ones who suffer from this. Because when people like Blake fake the struggle for clout, it dilutes the credibility of those actually fighting for justice. This isn't about gender, it's about truth. And right now, the truth is being suffocated under the weight of a very expensive PR machine. Blake Lively stood on that stage and told the world she's scared. But make no mistake, she's not scared. She's strategic. She's not silenced. She's spotlit. She's not oppressed. She's protected by power, money, and an industry terrified of telling the truth. And last night, that truth cracked through the facade. The fake jokes, the shaky voice, the perfectly timed thank yous. It was all a show. And for the first time, people saw the strings. So the next time Blake shows up in a designer dress crying about how hard life is, remember what that interview revealed. The performance is breaking. The narrative is collapsing. And if Hollywood has any backbone left, they'll stop clapping and start asking real questions.